Howdy! Today I'm going to be doing the first upgrade to my new Honda Pilot. It's a 2019 Pilot and we bought the LX model, and the LX model is missing some features that come on the EX and higher models. Overall, we wanted the LX because we don't like the fancy infotainment system in the car and we like the manual climate controls, but one of the things that is missing that we did like is, for some reason on the Pilot, on the LX model, they do not include a compass or temperature. And it seems like temperature display is pretty much standard on most cars these days. So I was a little disappointed that Honda left that out, even though it is an LX model. I'm sure it would be very easy, and some people even say the temperature sensor is already there, to add that. But instead of trying to mess with all the factory systems, I'm going to be adding an aftermarket mirror in the vehicle that includes the temperature and compass. So I went ahead and picked up this kit on eBay, and there's a lot of mirrors you'll find on eBay. You can get some relatively inexpensive auto dimming mirrors that have these features built in, and if you can do the wiring yourself, you can save a bunch of money, especially if you buy a used one. I'm a little more picky, and I wanted the display on the mirror to match the interior colors on the Pilot. And the Pilot, like a lot of the display, is white and there's some blues, and I went for a dark blue color to kind of match the ambient lighting that comes down from the roof of the Pilot. So the kit that I got, I'll leave a link below in the description, and it includes everything you need. So they include the wiring harnesses, temperature sensor, which will be mounted under the hood in the grille, and then obviously the main part is the mirror itself. And what's kind of unique about this seller that I found is that they can customize the display for different colors. And normally when you buy this is a Gentex mirror, and it's one of the modern ones. When you buy this kit new, it just kind of has the Chevy like greenish blue color right here. And obviously if the interior of your car doesn't have that color, it looks kind of goofy. So the one I got is a darker blue that matches the interior color of the car. Alright, so the plan is to replace the factory mirror right here, and with the factory mirror there's no electronics to it. A couple of things we're going to need to take into consideration. The big things that might make this a little bit more of a project for some people is we're going to have to drill some sort of hole in the firewall to get the wiring out to the front of the vehicle, and then we have to provide power to the mirror as well, so it turns on and off with the car. And the easiest way to do that in the Honda Pilot is to use the cigarette lighter circuit or the accessory outlet circuit, because it turns on and off with the ignition. So we'll be tapping into that to provide power to the mirror. We'll have to run all our wiring up through the pillar here and then over to the mirror itself. And in the Pilot, the adaptive cruise control and the Honda sensing and all that is up here in the windshield. So it poses a little bit of a challenge to mount the mirror in a traditional way, but I'll show you how we can take care of that. Alright, so the first thing we have to do is get this black plastic cover that surrounds all the electronics for the Honda sensing system down, and it is just clipped up here. First thing you want to do is pop out this little piece of plastic up here behind the mirror. Once that's out of the way, you'll see what you have to do. So once again, slowly work this, and then that comes off. Now you can see the mirror is attached just like any other mirror on a regular old wedge style mount. So now we can use our Torx bit, I believe it's a T15, to take that screw, loosen it out, and the mirror will come right off. The mirror just pops right off. Alright, so with these aftermarket mirrors, it's not quite as long of an extension as you can see, the new mirror versus the old mirror. So the problem we're going to run into is it's going to be a really tight clearance up here on the windshield when we put this on. It's really close to all those electronics. So it does fit though, once we set the plastic back in place. So what we'll do is, before I tighten anything down, I'm going to go ahead and take the wiring harness that came with the kit, and I'm going to plug it into the back of the mirror and then route my wiring down the pillar before we go any further. Alright, so removing some trim. First thing you remove is this side panel here, and it comes off. It's just held in with these clips, so carefully use a screwdriver and pry it off, or a pry tool. Then I pulled the rubber gasket off here, and what that'll do is that'll allow us to run the wires in here, and we can stay out of the way without messing with the airbags that are up in the system here. And then this whole trim piece right here, as you can see, it's just clipped in. There's no screws, so carefully unclip this piece. What this will allow us to do is get to this area here, and the glove box comes down like this. Just to make it easy to get room behind the glove box, we're going to go ahead and lower it out of the way and push in on the side here. You have to do both sides at the same time, so it'll be hard to show. And then just compress those, and the glove box drops out of the way, and the wire will run behind here over to here. Like I said, we're trying to get down to this power outlet here. So to really get in there to that, I'm going to have to remove this whole piece here with the HVAC controls, which there's a screw like this under here, and then there's another one over here that we'll have to take out. And then same thing on the other side, there's a little screw on that side, and we will pull this forward and it'll give us access to the wiring behind there. Alright, so on this side I was just able to pull the trim down, take the one screw out, and pop this whole piece loose, including the hazard switch, and it pops down. Now as you can see, we've got access. We can reach down here and access the wiring that goes to the cigarette lighter plug. Alright, so we take out another screw here. You can actually leave this one down here if you want, or you can take it out. Screw here and a screw here, and that lets this piece fold down far enough to where you can reach down, and that, not the gray wire, the black wire on the left, you can reach down and unplug that, and we can pull it up here to work on it to get access to power. Okay, so like I said, it is tight fit. I've got the mirror up there. You want to pull it down as far as you can, and then we'll push it up to where we can see out the back window. And we've got our black plastic piece back up. Now with this mirror installed, this little piece that we took off will not fit back on there. But it's okay because that whole space is filled up and you cannot see any of that back there. So now that we've got the mirror up, I'm going to start tucking the wires up into the ceiling and run them down to in here. Alright, so once we get the wires tucked down in here, we'll kind of split them up right here. The purple wires are going to be running out under the hood, and then the red and black wires you can feed up behind, and these we have to run over here to where we're going to make our connection to power. So we might have barely just enough wire. If not, we'll have to add on to this just a little bit. But we'll go ahead and we'll make our power connection with some tap-ins, cut and splice into these wires here. The white wire is your positive, so the white goes to the red, and the black wire goes to the black wire on your cigarette lighter plug. Alright, so out here under the hood, we have to find a place to go through the firewall, and while there is a place where a lot of wires go through over here, it's behind the HVAC system controls on that side. So honestly, the easiest place to go is over here on the driver's side. If you look just to the left of the brake booster down in here, there's a wiring harness. It's gonna be hard for me to show you on the camera, but it passes through the firewall, and there's a rubber plug that goes around it, and we're gonna punch through that rubber plug and use a coat hanger to run our wires through there. Now, the sensor needs to be mounted up here in the front in the grill area. So what I did is I just loosened a couple of the bolts in the grill just to give me a little bit of wiggle room. And down inside of here, I zip tied the sensor to the grill and then fed the wiring up next to the headlight, and it's coming out right here. And now I'm going to run this around, making sure to keep it away from everything that's hot. I'll try to attach it to the other wires, looms. That way we just keep it out of the way. We'll run it along and we'll fish it through that hole there so it can make our connections on the inside. Alright, so I ran the wire on the right side of the battery. Once again, it's going to be hard to see. It goes under the air intake. It's zip tied to this other wiring. It's again, one's underneath here. So there is the loom, and as you can see, just to the left, up in the top of the screen there, I made a small slit with a sharp flat blade screwdriver just to the side of where the wiring goes through, and then used a coat hanger, taped the wires, the purple wires, to the coat hanger and pulled it through. And the loom just goes right up to the firewall. So it's a nice finished look. So on the inside of the car, it comes through the firewall right up in here. You can see there's a pass-through for the wires. There's a little plastic cover that you can just pull off, and then the wiring, I just punched it right through. So now we'll just run this just to the right, up over, across to the other side, and we'll make our connection. Alright, so an optional step to give you a little bit more room would be to remove the glove box completely. And there's just some screws up here, and then two 10mm bolts down here, and then you can remove the whole assembly. But basically, so instead of splitting the wires, I just kept them together, the two purples and the red and the black, ran them all the way behind here, and you can see where they come out. So we'll tie our red and our black into the power, and then here's our purple wires coming from where they came in under the hood. I just fed them up behind the dash. Then so we'll splice these together, and I'm going to solder those, do it right, make it a good connection, make our connection to power, and then put the dashboard back together, and we will be done. Alright, it's very important that you properly solder and then heat shrink these purple wires. And the reason why is because the temperature sensor is based on resistance, and if there's resistance in the connection in the wire, it will give you a false temperature reading. So definitely take the time to properly solder and then tape or heat shrink these purple wires. Alright, got my wiring connections made. Before I button everything up, take a look at the mirror here and we'll try this out. Just tap the start stop button one time, and the mirror comes on. So that's what we want to see. And we just have to go through the compass calibration procedure. But I think we're safe to button everything up. Alright, so now we're going to set our calibration zone, and we're going to hold it for 9 seconds. Alright, it says we're in zone 8. Well, I need to be in zone 9 where I live, so I'll tap it up to zone 9. And then we'll just wait, and it exits, and now that is correct. If you notice that the compass's direction is not correct, you'll press and hold the button for 12 seconds until you'll see CAL, which stands for calibration, appears. Then you'll need to drive the vehicle in a circle under 5 miles an hour until you see the direction appear on the screen. Alright, well, hopefully this video was informative and helped you. I know it's a little more involved for the average person, but if you have any questions, leave a comment below and like and subscribe for more. Thank you.